Incredible Omega heals Alpha King's hidden wounds. 200 wolves surround her pack the next day. The sun had barely kissed the horizon when Lily began her day, her heart heavy but determined. Every morning, as the world still slumbered, she rose with a purpose. Her mother's cough, a tragic reminder of their struggles, punctuated the stillness of their small home. Lily, just 26, was an Omega wolf in a world that still saw her as lesser. Yet, she wore her resilience like armor. At Mabel's place, the local diner that felt like an extension of her family, Lily became the beating heart of the establishment. With every cup of coffee she poured and each pancake she flipped, she radiated warmth and kindness, touching the lives of every patron who entered. "You're a miracle worker, Lily," they'd joke, and she'd laugh, though that laughter sometimes hid the yearning within her, a yearning for connection, acceptance, and purpose. As she wiped down the counter, whispers began to swirl, painting a portrait of the town's beloved Alpha King, Ethan. His battles, his bruised heart, echoed through the diner like whispers of a ghost. Lily felt her heart tugging at her, pulling her toward him. What if I could help him? She thought. What if my warmth could heal his wounds? It was a thought born from her compassionate nature, but she quickly brushed aside the threats that curled around her mind. The community she loved was quick to judge, and she was an Omega. The townsfolk's prejudice against Omegas was a festering wound. They saw them as weak, a sentiment echoed even in the way the wealthier families turned their noses up at them. But Lily's heart soared with the hope that perhaps she could be the bridge, the light in the somber darkness of the town's collective disdain. "It's time to show them empathy," she resolved. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference." Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As she approached Ethan, their eyes met, his pain visible, threatening to drown him. "You don't have to carry it alone," she said, extending her hand in friendship. Amid her genuine concern, the room seemed to shift. Laughter in Mabel's place faded into hushed murmurs, and the diner felt like a battlefield, caught between tradition and progress. The price of connection was high, but Lily was prepared to pay it. When a rival pack encircled Mabel's place, their presence stirring the pot of tension, it felt like the town itself was holding its breath. In that moment, Lily felt her fierce loyalty igniting. "This community needs to come together," she thought, voicing a rallying cry for unity that ricocheted off the diner walls. Every face, from the grumpy old men nursing coffee to the gossipy women at the corner booth, reflected a mix of fear and hope. The stakes were rising, shadows of doubt looming large. Could her kindness truly bridge the chasm? As the rival pack approached, Lily felt a surge of adrenaline, her heart racing, anchoring her purpose. "I will protect my home," she vowed, standing tall as whispers of change gathered like storm clouds around them. What would happen when the lines of tradition blurred against the backdrop of hope? The world felt electric, ready to burst as 200 wolves gathered. Would they find healing amongst the scars, or would this moment become the spark of a deeper divide? The answer loomed overhead, and Lily's heart pulsed with the thrill of uncertainty, ready for the confrontation that would change everything. The air crackled with tension as the rival pack closed in, their eyes bold and unyielding, sizing up the situation inside Mabel's place. Lily felt each heartbeat like a drum reverberating in the silence that had overtaken the diner. It was no longer just a struggle against judgment. It was about survival for herself, for Ethan, and for everyone who called this town home. Ethan, standing beside her, exuded an intensity that was both comforting and terrifying. She could see the weight of responsibility in his gaze, the way he cared for his people, but she also sensed a shift, a flicker of something fragile beneath his stoic demeanor. In this moment of potential conflict, they were two souls entwined in a shared mission, stamped by the scars of their past. "Stay strong," she whispered, her voice barely above a breath. He nodded, though uncertainty clouded his features. The door swung open with a loud crash, drawing the eyes of every diner patron. In strode Kael, the alpha of the rival pack, accompanied by a small army of his own. He was imposing, with a fierce demeanor and an arrogance that dared anyone to challenge him. "Well, well, isn't this quaint?" Kael's voice oozed with mockery as he surveyed the room. "A gathering of Omegas and their broken king. How touching." Lily felt heat flush to her cheeks, but she grappled with it, unwilling to give in to fear. In that moment, she thought of her mother, of the sacrifices they'd made, and how she had chosen hope daily. Now she had a chance to instill that same strength in Ethan and the townsfolk. "You don't own this town, Kael," Ethan replied, his voice steady, but a hint of fury sparked in his eyes. "And we don't fear you." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the onlookers. Lily felt their energy shift, fear replaced by a pulse of bravery. It was as if Ethan's words unleashed a wave, rippling through the diner, igniting their spirits. Kael grinned, but it was a shallow smile, filled with menace. "Is that so? I came here to remind you all of your place. And if there's any pushback from a little Omega, well, we all know how that ends." Lily knew this was the moment of truth. Could she turn this tide? With her heart pounding in her chest, she stepped forward, drawing the attention of both the rival pack and her own. "What if we changed the rules?" she proposed, surprising even herself with her boldness. "What if we united instead of tearing each other apart?" The room fell painfully silent. All eyes turned from Kael to Lily. Ethan's gaze lingered on her, uncertainty mixed with admiration. "Unity?" Kael laughed, the sound like shattered glass. "You really think you can convince me? Omegas don't get a say in our world." But a brave voice from the back emerged, one of the usual hesitant patrons who spent every morning nursing their coffee at the diner. "She's right. This town is built on community. It's time we stood together." Lily felt the support swell around her. She grasped Ethan's hand tightly, holding on to each other as strength. They had to push against the overwhelming tide together. "Let us show them who we truly are," she shouted, adrenaline coursing through her. Kael's expression shifted, and for the first time, doubt crept into his eyes. "Very well," he sneered, though she sensed his unease. "Let us see how long your little alliance lasts." The weight of the moment pressed down on them all. As Kael turned to leave, the rival wolves followed, though they cast backward glances filled with uncertainty. The air felt charged, filled with the possibility of change, but was it real? With danger still lurking, Lily turned to face the crowd. A wave of hope swelled in her chest. But even as she felt victory sparking sparks of change, a chilling howl broke through the silence, echoing ominously in the distance. What lay ahead, she could not yet fathom, but she knew it was far from over. What would that howl mean for their fragile alliance? Would they be strong enough to face what was coming? The questions loomed heavy, stirring in her heart as the certainty of a storm approached. Lily stood frozen in the diner, the chilling howl still reverberating through her bones. It was a sound that spoke of danger, marked something ominous that lurked just beyond the edges of their fragile alliance. The faces surrounding her were a mix of confusion and fear, a tapestry of emotions weaving together as they processed what had just happened. "Lily, what was that?" Ethan asked, his voice wavering. He was still gripping her hand, but she could feel the tension ripple between them. It was thicker than the air, heavier than the impending storm outside. "I don't know," she replied honestly, glancing toward the diner's large windows, where dark clouds had begun to gather, mirroring the anxiety brewing inside her. The thought of another confrontation sent shivers down her spine. The patrons who had once murmured words of support now exchanged worried glances. They were united in spirit, but the very nature of the pack's existence had taught them to be cautious, to expect hostility when they least expected it. "Maybe it's just a stray wolf," someone whispered, but they all knew better. In this world, sounds like that didn't come from lone wanderers. Suddenly, Mabel, the diner's owner, stepped up. Her gray hair flared with defiance, and her voice rose above the murmurs. "We can't let fear take hold again. If we really want to stand together, we need to prepare. Gather arms. We need to defend our home." I don't want to fight," Lily interjected, panic rising in her voice. "Isn't that what we're trying to avoid?" "It's not about fighting," Ethan interjected firmly, placing his other hand on her shoulder. "It's about protecting what we've built. Our community." Lily's heart quickened. She felt that weight of responsibility again, heavier yet more resolute. Perhaps Kael's words had seeped into something more than just a rivalry. They had stirred a desire for true solidarity. "We're not just defending against Kael's pack," she said, her voice rising with newfound conviction. "We're fighting for a future where we can honor those we've lost, one that honors our families and makes a statement that we won't be intimidated any longer." The crowd seemed to hum in agreement, a unified energy rising like a tide. Yet, even as hope surged, the howl echoed again, louder this time, closer. A stark reminder of the threat lurking outside. Lily turned to look for Ethan, only to find him through the gathering shadows of the diner, deep in conversation with a few of the more assertive townsfolk. It calmed her to see him finally stepping into his role, a true leader emerging from the remnants of self-doubt. But then she heard a clash of claws on metal. The vibrancy of community was interrupted by the sudden chaos of a crowd rushed outside, barely contained whispers of "they're here," echoing through the space. "What do we do?" she breathed, her pulse racing. Ethan's face didn't give her the reassuring smile she needed. Instead, he looked concerned, protective. "I need you to stay close," he said, his voice firm, yet gentle. "We're going to face them together." The doors rattled as the rival pack approached, the diner's patrons gathering around in a protective circle. The once warm and inviting Mabel's place felt like a spark about to set off a wildfire, the air charged with anticipation. As the doors swung open, revealing the silhouettes of wolves poised to charge, Lily locked eyes with Ethan. "No matter what happens next," she started, feeling the weight of their uncertain fate, "we face this together, right?" His expression hardened with resolve. "Always." Suddenly, before they could prepare a defense, Kael's words cut through the tension. "I hope you're ready to find out just what happens when you cross us. You thought you could unite, but you will soon see how weak a pack of Omegas really is." A storm had come, but it was much more than just the thunder rolling above. It was a battle of wills creeping closer, ready to pounce. Lily inhaled deeply, determination flaring in her chest. "Then let us show them what we're made of." As the rival pack charged, she realized they weren't just fighting for survival. They were fighting for a future of fierce hope igniting within their ranks. Could they really stand strong against the storm? She felt the heaviness of the moment settle over them like a blanket, and for the first time, uncertainty shifted into belief. But the battle was only about to begin. What horrors lay ahead could reshape everything they had fought for. Would they have the strength to rise up and reclaim their home? Or would the shadow of Kael's pack engulf them all? The air pulsated with tension as the doors burst open, scattering the tension like ink dropped into water. Faces turned towards the newcomers, the rival pack, their forms shrouded in anger and bravado. With the brutal howl still echoing in her ears, Lily felt a rush of adrenaline that propelled her forward, drawing the line between fear and resolve. Ethan slipped in close beside her, the warmth radiating from him like a shield. Their hands clasped tightly, and she could feel the rhythm of his heartbeat, steady and strong. It grounded her as she faced the chaos unfolding at the entrance. "Hold the line," someone shouted. It was Jeff, a burly guy with a fierce loyalty to their cause. The diners rallied behind him, forming a barricade. There was strength in numbers, but could it withstand the storm that approached? As the rival pack surged forward, their eyes glimmering like shards of ice under the diner's flickering lights, Lily noticed Kael leading the charge, a predatory smile splitting his face. The arrogance in his stance made her blood boil. This was not just a confrontation for the territory, it was about everything they stood for. "Now," Mabel commanded, her voice sharp as a knife. The patrons took up makeshift arms, iron skillets, broom handles, anything that could act as a weapon. They shifted anxiously, fear hidden behind determination, emphasizing their solidarity against the encroaching shadows. Lily's breath hitched in her throat. She was no warrior. She was a healer, a peacekeeper. Yet, here she stood, about to fight for a future that meant everything to her. The thought of what life could be, free from fear, propelled her into action. Just as the first wolves lunged forward, the crowd surged, instinctively pushing against the tide of aggression. A cacophony erupted. Snarls mingled with the clatter of metal as they collided. Chaos unfolded around her, shadows flitting to and fro like wings taking flight in an eerie dance. Lily caught a glimpse of Ethan, ducking low as he shielded a couple of younger townsfolk from a charging wolf. He was fierce, protective, and it ignited something deep within her, a burning want to not just defend but to fight back. Lily moved toward the fray, her heart pounding, fueled by the rally of voices around her. From somewhere within, a strength she didn't know she possessed surged forth, and with it, she joined the fray. Whenever she could, she struck as best as she could, a grazing blow here, a sturdy smack with wooden planks there. In the thick of things, she caught Kael's gaze, his expression shifting from amusement to surprise at the unexpected ferocity of the untested group. For a split second, she felt a flicker of doubt cross his brow. Perhaps they weren't as weak as he had thought. Then, just as suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled as the sound of another howl sliced through the din. Only this wasn't just Kael's pack. A fresh wave of wolves, dark and vicious, joined the melee, charging behind Kael. Lily's hope began to flicker as fear gnawed at her heart. "We can't let them surround us," she yelled, her voice cutting through the chaos. The message was clear: if they didn't push back, they'd be overwhelmed. Ethan caught her gaze, the fire in his eyes now matched with urgency. "We need to regroup." As they retreated a step back, the town's fervent spirit shone brighter than the dread looming over them. They were not just fighting for territory, but for camaraderie, for their community to thrive. What if they couldn't reclaim their home? What if they broke against the weight of the tide? Unwilling to falter, Lily tightened her grip on Ethan's hand, willing him with her courage. "Together," she shouted again, her voice carrying above the growls and yells. But as more packs converged, the question hung thick in the air. Could they endure the coming storm, or would they be swept away, victims of a fate they never chose? With a surge, the pack pressed back, but what darkness lurked in the depths of this fight that could change everything? Would their unity hold strong against the unrelenting tide? The sound of clashing bodies echoed in the air, reverberating through the diner like a war drum. Lily's sharp breaths mingled with a chorus of snarls and crashing metal. With each hit she landed, adrenaline coursed through her, awakening a primal instinct she never knew existed. Ethan was right beside her, his fierce gaze never leaving hers as they fought tactically, side by side. Together, they pushed against the wall of aggression threatening to engulf them. Each time a wolf lunged toward them, they moved in sync, blocking and countering with swift determination. On the left, Ethan shouted, pointing urgently as a particularly large wolf lunged at them, snapping its jaws. Lily sidestepped, swinging a heavy frying pan sideways and connecting with a satisfying thud against the creature's side. The wolf yelped, staggering backward, and in that flash of victory, she felt the swell of confidence rising within her. But their victory was fleeting. The tide of wolves kept coming, an endless stream of fury and primal aggression. Kael's voice rose above the fray, barking orders like a conductor guiding an orchestra of chaos. Each directive solidified his control, turning the wild scuffle into a disturbing dance of destruction. "Form a line," he yelled, and his pack rallied like a wall of shadows, sharp teeth glimmering in the dim light as they advanced. It was terrifying to behold, and an icy fear gripped Lily's heart. How could they stand against this also? A fight was only as strong as its weakest link. And as she turned to scan the room, she spotted faces filled with fear, some trembling, others looking ready to flee. "Stay together," Lily urged, her own voice straining against the tumult. We can do this. She attempted to inspire hope, but the weight of uncertainty clung to her. In that moment, Ethan reached for her hand. His grip was a lifeline amidst the chaos. We can't hesitate, he muttered, the intensity in his eyes urging her onward. If we back down now, they'll see us as weak. Then we fight, she declared, feeling a surge of defiance as she held tight to the unity of their town. The din grew louder, the sense of adrenaline and fear saturating the air. Another howl echoed, this time piercing through the cacophony like a siren. It belonged to yet another wave of combatants, a horde surging toward them, eyes wild and filled with the hunger of battle. Lily's heart sank. There's too many, what do we do? But Ethan's unwavering gaze burned steady. We hold this line. We are stronger together. With his determination igniting something deep inside her, she turned back toward the horde, her body tense and ready. She could hardly believe this was who she had become, a defender, a fighter united with her community. As the wolves collided with their makeshift barricade, an overwhelming frenzy erupted. They pushed, they clawed, and within that chaos, Lily caught sight of Mabel, rallying others to her side, shouting with a fierce passion that inspired those around her. The power of unity whipped through the crowd like wildfire, igniting every heart that beat together. Still, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that the worst was yet to come. How many more waves could they withstand? Then, all at once, a blinding flash of light erupted from the entrance. The sharp, crackling sound of a bolt of energy filled the air, drawing every head to turn. A glimmering figure stepped into the fray, a radiant being that shimmered with both light and authority, sending shockwaves of confusion through the combatants. Who was this new player? Lily felt a chill cascade down her spine. As the figure raised its hand, a silence fell like a blanket over the battlefield. All eyes waited, unsure of what was coming next, but holding their breath in tense anticipation as the most unexpected revelation hung in the air. What secrets did this figure hold that could change everything? Would it be a savior or a harbinger of doom? The figure stepped forward, a halo of light illuminating the darkness surrounding the diner. It exuded a power that seemed to pulse with each heartbeat in the gathered crowd. Lily squinted, straining to comprehend the ethereal presence that seemed to float rather than walk. Who are you? Ethan slowly asked, his voice barely above a whisper, yet it echoed with a mix of awe and fear. The radiant being smiled, a gentle expression that eased the tension in the air, if only momentarily. I am Althea, a guardian of balance. I have come to aid in your struggle. Lily felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. Could this be what they needed? A sign of divine intervention? But as quickly as that spark ignited, doubt clouded her mind. What can you do? She questioned, her heart racing with the weight of their situation. How can you help us? Althea raised her hand, and just as swiftly as the light had captured them, a wave of energy swept over the gathering. The air around them shimmered with a golden hue, wrapping their bodies in warmth. Lily's fear began to fade, replaced by a rising tide of strength. Others beside her straightened, fortified by the sudden surge of power, but even as the wave washed over them, shadows loomed at the edges of the diner. The wolves had not retreated. They were merely reassessing the scene, wary and restless. Kael's pack remained poised, muscles tense, and Lily sensed that the momentary peace brought by Althea wouldn't last long. With a swift motion, Althea gestured toward the wolves, whose eyes glinted with primal hunger. Their fight is born of fear, but it can be quelled through unity. Her voice resonated with authority. You must stand together, not just against the wolves, but for your own belief in one another. Lily felt the weight of Althea's words. They rang true. She glanced at the familiar faces around her, neighbors, friends, those she shared laughter and tears with. They were not merely bystanders. They were a community woven together by shared stories. Do you hear her? Lily shouted, her voice gaining momentum. We're not just a town. We are family, and families stick together. The diner erupted with murmurs of agreement. Mabel stepped forward, her unwavering courage shining like a beacon. Let us show them who we are. We fight for each other. The resolve in the room shifted. Together, they began to arm themselves with whatever they could find, forks, plates, and whatever else could be wielded as a weapon. With each person standing up, that once vague fear transformed into fierce resolve, more palpable than ever. But just then, Althea lifted her arms again, a new energy crackling between her hands. You can summon strength together, but it will require a sacrifice. A collective shiver swept through them. The room grew silent, anxiety seeping back in. Sacrifice? Ethan echoed, glancing at Lily. What do you mean? The radiant figure narrowed her eyes, her expression serious. A leader must emerge, one who can embody the unity you create. A bridge between two worlds, light and darkness. Confusion washed over Lily. Did that mean one of them would need to step up and take on a role beyond their reckoning? What would that mean for them, for her? Just as doubt began to creep into her heart, her eyes met Ethan's. She could see the same questions swirling in his gaze, but there was also something else, a flicker of unwavering belief. Who will have the courage? Althea asked, her voice shimmering like the light she wielded. Who among you will answer the call? Suddenly, just as the weight of the choice loomed over them, the wolves howled again. The moment hung in the air, filled with anticipation and dread, and it became clear that time was running out. As tensions mounted on both sides, would one of them rise as the leader? Would they forge their unity before the wolves' fury crashed down upon them? The howl echoed, jagged and desperate, sending shivers down the spines of everyone gathered at the diner. The shadows of the wolves seemed to shift, their dark silhouettes dancing against the faint light. Lily's heart raced. The weight of anticipation pressed on her chest, almost knocking the breath out of her. Althea remained calm, her radiant presence an anchor amidst the brewing storm. You must trust one another, she urged, her voice cutting through the tension like a knife. In unity, there is power, a power that can protect you from the darkness. But who would step forward? Lily turned to her friends, her heart thumping loudly in her ears. She saw Mabel, determined yet uncertain, and Ethan, whose brows knitted together in thought. Suddenly, she felt small and her confidence began to wane. What if the very act of choosing a leader split them apart rather than unite them? Maybe it should be one of us? Ethan spoke up hesitantly. But who?
Me.
A voice rang out from the back. It was Jasper, the town's schoolteacher, a man known for his wisdom but also for his fear of confrontation. The room turned, everyone looking at him with a mix of surprise and admiration. I want to lead this charge. If we don't stand together now, we risk losing everything we love. Lily's heart fluttered with a strange mixture of dread and hope. Could he really be the one? Do you think you can handle it? She asked, concern etching her features. Of course, Jasper exclaimed, his voice gaining strength with the support of the crowd. But I can't do this alone. We need to unite as one, even if it's daunting. We've all had our struggles. It's time to face them together. A murmur of agreement rippled through the diner. Encouragement piled upon him like bricks building a wall. The moment felt electric, charged with unspoken fears and collective strength. Althea nodded, and a brilliant light illuminated the room, wrapping around Jasper, urging him forward. The wolves coped with a chorus of howls in the distance, a reminder of the looming threat. They were still there, their hunger palpable, and the tension in the air threatened to break. Wonderful, but strength can come from more than one source, Althea added. Others must also find the courage to speak up. Together, you weave the fabric of leadership, and together you can protect all you hold dear. The people in the diner looked at one another, uncertainty giving way to a collective drive. I'll help, Mabel exclaimed with fierceness in her eyes. We can make a plan. I have ideas. Like a wave, voices joined Mabel, each one contributing pieces of strength and hope. I can scout outside, said Martin, gripping a fork tightly. We'll track their movements. Lily felt the unexpected warmth swell within her. This was more than just about the wolves. It was about finding their collective voice against the darkness pressing in on them. This was about healing, not just from the threat outside, but from the scars they all carried within. But as they leaned into one another, forging their unity, a chilling howl pierced through the air, louder than before. This howl felt different, more menacing, more demanding. "Everyone, we need to prepare." Jasper's voice boomed, cutting through the rising panic. "Let us not just wait. It's time we showed those wolves we're ready to fight back." Lily's heart raced again, a mix of determination and lingering fear. The weight of the moment bore down on her, and she felt the future balance on a knife's edge. Could they really take on the wolves? And then, just as they gathered their resolve, a sudden crash rattled the diner door. It felt like the world outside had come crashing in, forcing them to confront the reality of their situation. Had Dasha, as the door held firm against the unexpected force, they all knew this was just the beginning. Would they be ready for what lay ahead? They shared a glance, hearts pounding together like drums, as they prepared themselves for the storm to come. The diner fell silent after the crash. The very air around them thickened with fear. The door shook violently, rattling in its frame, as if something outside was desperate to be let in. Lily could see panic teetering on the edge of her friends' faces. They had barely begun to bond and find their purpose, and already the threat was intensifying. "We can't just sit here," Martin said through clenched teeth. His fingers turned white around the fork, his knuckles strained. "I say we stake out and see what they want. If we let them in without knowing their purpose, we'll regret it." Jasper stepped closer to the door, heart hammering in his chest.
"No, we need to stay strong.
"If they want to come in, they'll have to fight for it," he said, his voice steady, though Lily could see the tremor beneath. He felt it too. This was a moment that could shatter their growing unity or solidify it. Mabel squeezed Lily's arm, her touch grounding. "What if they're just hungry? What if they're searching for their pack? Maybe we can help them." "Help them?" Ethan barked, disbelief coloring his tone. "They've been stalking us. They want to take what's ours. Or they might want to join us," Mabel replied sharply, her determination flaring like a flame against the cool breeze outside. "We don't know their story. We need to hear them out before making a decision." The howls intensified, a dissonant symphony that played at their instincts: fear, anger, and an inkling of hope. Althea's calming presence remained steadfast, her eyes like beacons guiding them through the storm. "You are right, Mabel, in that understanding is key," she said gently, each word like a soothing balm. "But caution must not waver either. Perhaps we can set a boundary. Invite only one into the diner. See what they have to say." Althea's ideas sparked a flicker of unity among them. But who would brave the threshold? Could they trust a lone wolf, even temporarily? The thought terrified Lily, but there was also a stirring sense of purpose igniting within her. "I'll go," Jasper said suddenly, urgency sharpening the edges of his voice. The room fell silent again, disbelief sifting through their expressions.
"No,"
Martin gasped, concern breaking through the newfound hope. "You can't let him," Lily interjected, surprising even herself with the strength of her conviction. "If he's willing, we can't stop him. It's his choice to make. This will show we have faith in one another." The diner's atmosphere shifted as Jasper nodded, determination setting his features into a steely mask of resolve. "I'll do this for all of us, for our safety, and for the truth that lies out there. I have faith we can make this work." Together, they fortified the door, drawing any remaining furniture closer for added protection, while Jasper prepared himself mentally. He took a deep breath, promising himself that he wouldn't do this alone. They were all with him. Outside, the howling continued. The creature's roars sounded more like a cry for understanding now, not just savage hunger. Soon, the diner's collective breath would be held in anticipation, as Jasper opened that door, each moment a lifeline, balancing the fragile peace they had just begun to forge. The knocks intensified, the hollow echo reverberating through the diner. As the door creaked open, they collectively held their breath, hearts pounding in rhythm with the thrums of fear and hope. Would they welcome a new ally? Or would this lead to their undoing? As the door swung inward to reveal the mystery beyond, all eyes were fixed on what was about to unfold. In that crucial instant, everything hung in the balance, and the collective fate of each person in the diner trembled on the cusp of revelation. What they wouldn't expect next may change everything. Jasper stepped into the yawning darkness beyond the diner door, his heart racing louder than the howls echoing in the night. The world outside felt bigger, almost overwhelming, and the cold air bit at his skin, reminding him of the stakes. He took a steadying breath, eyes scanning the darkness, searching for any sign of movement. It was then that he saw them. Shadows loomed just beyond the reach of the diner's flickering lights. A figure emerged, cautiously stepping closer. Gasps from his friends echoed behind him, but he couldn't look back.
Not now.
He had to focus. The creature that approached was lean yet strong, a blend of elegance and raw power. Its fur glistened under the pale glow, revealing a striking mixture of grays and blacks, a gem in the moonlight. Jasper's breath caught as he locked eyes with the newcomer. They were feral, yet full of intelligence, a spark flickering in those deep golden orbs. This was not just any wolf. "Stay back," he called out, instinctively stepping closer to the threshold. "What do you want?" The wolf halted, its form taut with hesitation. It seemed to measure him, then lowered its head slightly in a gesture Jasper had seen in documentaries, a sign of submission. This was no ordinary creature. Whatever it wanted, it came with less malice than he expected. "It's okay, Jasper," a soft voice floated from the shadows beside the canine. A woman emerged, her presence striking against the darkness. Her long hair, wild and untamed, framed her face as fiercely as the wolf beside her. "We mean no harm. My name is Arya. What do you want?" he repeated, though the tremor in his voice betrayed no certainty. That flicker of fear danced between him and the unknown, pulling at the edges of his bravery. Arya took a careful step forward, the wolf glancing back at her as if seeking permission. "We were drawn to your light. Our pack, it's in danger," she continued, the urgency in her tone thickening the air around them. "If you accept me, I can help. But you must trust me." As her words washed over him, whispers rippled behind him, and he glanced back to see Martin's skeptical glare countered by Mabel's wide-eyed hope. "Trust?" Martin grumbled, his voice barely above a whisper. "Yes, right," Jasper said, feeling the weight of the moment press down on his shoulders. "Now, it's not the time to let in just anyone. But we want to know what she has to say," Mabel urged, her eyes pleading. "This could be our chance to understand what is really happening." Jasper swallowed hard. The howls faded to a dull thrum, and all eyes remained on Arya, anticipation hanging thick in the air. "You can't just expect us to let you in," he warned, but the words felt weaker than he intended. "Give me a chance," Arya insisted, desperation tinged with something else, a glint of hope. "You don't know the dangers outside. There are wolves out there, worse than anyone you faced. I can help you fight, but we must unite." In that moment, Jasper felt the fragile thread of unity with his friends pulling taut. This wasn't merely about courage anymore. It was about survival, about ensuring their friendship didn't crumble before it even had a chance to grow. He nodded slowly, feeling the shared resolve in the room. "All right, but only if we can talk first. You may have one chance." "Thank you," Arya said softly, the weight of gratitude shining in her eyes. She stepped towards him, accompanied by the wolf, both bearing the weight of their unspoken journeys. As they moved into the diner, Jasper felt the stirring of something deep within him, a mixture of fear and hope, wild and untamed like the wolf beside Arya. Uncertainty hung in the air, heavy as they all braced for revelations yet to come. But what was it that lay outside, waiting just beyond their reach? Darkness lingered, whispering the secrets of fates interwoven with their own, as primal instincts threatened to unravel their fragile alliance. The tension in the diner was palpable as Arya stepped inside. The air seemed to thrum with disbelief, hanging heavy with unspoken fears. Jasper's heartbeat echoed in his ears, blending with the whispers and gasps from the others. He scanned their faces, searching for clarity in the swirling storm of emotions. "Listen," Arya began, her voice solid yet gentle, as if she dared not disturb the fragile peace. "Our pack is in turmoil. Kael has been stirring up chaos, seeking power by turning one pack against another. He has been gathering forces wolves who thrive on destruction." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Lily felt the edges of her resolve hardening. This wasn't just a threat to their community anymore, it was a call to action against a greater evil. "What makes you think we should trust you?" Martin's voice was thick with skepticism. He stood tall, arms crossed, exuding an aura of protective defiance. Arya inhaled deeply, the weight of their doubts palpable. "Because I know the fragility of loyalty and belonging. I've lived among them, endured their anger. But I also know where their weakness lies," she replied, each word dripping with conviction. "If we stand divided, if you push us away, we all fall into Kael's trap. Then tell us how you can help." Lily stepped forward, her voice steady, defying the fear that gripped her. "What do you know that will change this?" A flicker of relief crossed Arya's eyes, as if Lily's courage had cranked open a door to understanding. "We need to unite our strengths," she explained, glancing at the wolf who stayed close by her side. "This is Kai. He is not just a wolf, he is my protector. Together, we can face them and create a plan. But only if you trust us." Before any words could drown the hope rising inside the diner, Althea's presence stirred, illuminating the room with a celestial glow. "Trust is born from understanding," she spoke, her voice soft and resonant like the calm after a storm. "If you are to come together and confront the darkness, accept the bond you are being given." More questions bubbled inside Jasper, and yet he felt the pull of his friend's fierce spirit. They had awakened an alliance where hope flourished amidst uncertainty. "All right," he finally said, his voice firm. "Well, listen, we'll give you a chance. But if at any moment you betray us, it will end badly for all parties involved." "Fair enough," Arya nodded, relief washing over her features. "Meet with the others, share your strengths. I promise, together, we will forge a new future." As Arya and Kai began to speak to the townsfolk, Lily felt a surge of warmth blooming in her chest. People were listening, connecting with one another in ways they hadn't imagined before. This wasn't just about her. It was about every wolf, every omega, every family in their community. Outside, the chorus of howls grew distant, quieter not out of defeat, but anticipation. It was as if even the rival wolves sensed the change brewing. The diner transformed into a war room, walls once filled with uncertainty now filled with ideas and resolve. Jasper organized the crowd, strategizing where their strengths lay. "Pair up. We need to gauge our abilities and understand how we can work with Arya and Kai." The diners nodded, energy sparking as they branched off to discuss their possibilities. With Ethan beside her, Lily breathed in courage. "If we do this," she started, "we need to believe in each other. We can't let Kael's power tear us apart." "I believe," Ethan replied firmly, drawing her gaze. "In you, in us. We're stronger than we think." As they gathered plans, the energy was electric, and a steady confidence began to flow through the diner. With Althea standing sentinel, casting awareness over the room, hope permeated every heart. And then, as if the universe aligned, a sudden howl rang out, a rally of wolves united, a sound of solidarity that transcended fear. It vibrated through the very essence of their beings, a promise of change and rebirth. It ignited a fire inside Lily, born of purpose. "This is our moment," she shouted, the ringing strength of her voice shaking down the walls of doubt that had once imprisoned them. "It's time we reclaim not just our home, but each other. We stand together, omegas, alphas, and all." The crowd erupted into cheers, a chorus as cutting as a blade, forging unbreakable connections in the fire of shared intention. They were not mere individuals. They were an army not of wolves readying to wage war, but of a community standing for love, unity, and hope. United at last, they would face whatever storm loomed ahead. As the diner's lights flickered in solidarity, Lily felt a sense of belonging cascade over her. They were family now, and no fear would ever shake that foundation again. Together, they prepared to confront the darkness, embracing the strength they had discovered, ready to define their destiny. The future was uncertain, but it was theirs to shape, and deep down, they all knew courage could withstand even the fiercest of tempests. Now it was time to change their narrative, and Lily could feel that the winds were finally shifting in their favor. As they stood, fueled by the essence of sweat, laughter, and hope, one thought echoed in unison within them all. Together, we can take on anything. So, wouldn't you join in this journey? You need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second to share this story with at least 5 friends who need to witness this transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, so we can keep bringing you more incredible narratives. And comment below, share your thoughts and feelings about this exhilarating twist. This is the moment to show your support. Come on, hit that button.